hiding from me tonight. They got to see me.
I think if you got a guy like that, you build like that, 6'4", guy, you got to trust.
Everybody watching tonight. So I tell you what, if you get fired into the next, you in the wrong business. We control us. We run this. And anybody coming in our house,
they got Jordan Davis last season. They bring Fletcher Cox back in Philly. So I'm sitting there like, we need to put something on this offensive line to combat that. What is going on? Welcome back, everybody. Sitting around waiting for some Monday Night Football, but for the Dallas Cowboys, Week 2 is behind us, man. 2-0 to start the season, a 30-10 victory over the New York Jets. Talk to me a bit about how you're feeling.
Hey, man, what I tell y'all they was going to do, man? They going to move the goalposts, man. Listen, we came out there, we did what we had to do. I think we all expected our defense to show up, right? The defense showed up. They did what they had to do, man. But I think the most impressive thing about this whole thing was, Dak Prescott and how surgical he was, how he was coming out this thing, how efficient he was. And, it's going to be a little talk about, the red zone. Could we have had punched some of those things in? But look, at the same time, look, we was going against one of the best defenses in the league. You know what I mean? In the day, like these Cowboy victories and the way we do things, man, it's feeling easy, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
After the Garrett Wilson touchdown, I was sitting there and I was like, if this was Jason Garrett, like I would feel like this is one of those Jason Garrett games we lose. But I was like, well, we got McCarthy. You know what I mean? And it does feel different because 4 years ago that we'd be sitting there like, yeah, this game's probably a wrap. But McCarthy, man, he showed a lot of maturity and I thought he executed perfectly. He was aggressive early, conservative later, and I loved the repetition we got with Brandon Aubrey kicking those field goals, 5 for 5 on the day. He didn't try to force anything. We controlled the clock, and it was the smart way to play, like you said, a top defense in this league.
Yeah, man, I love what Mike doing. And then I think how much of a statement was it? Just as soon as the game start, you take that, you receive the kickoff, you come down the field, and you score right away. I think that just kind of set the tone for everything. And then right away, Micah comes in, he get the sack. Everybody feed off of that, man. And, it seemed like they stuck in there for a little bit. I think it goes to show how spoiled I get with this defense. You know what I mean? When Garrett Wilson scored, I was sitting over there. I was like, damn, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, you know what I mean? We answer their touchdown. We come right back down the field. We score again. I think everybody looks good. Let's talk about some of these players and, X factors. Who showed out to you the most?
One thing that really stood out to me in this game, and it wasn't big, and it probably went unnoticed, was right before the half when Hunter Lupick fumbled, recovered it, and was about to take off. Harper came in and tackled him, to prevent a turnover or something silly right there. And I thought that was a very, very heads-up play, and that really stood out to me right before the half.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I liked a lot of guys. I thought, Osa, he showed up once again. Micah doing Micah things, but I want to talk about some key guys on the offensive side, right? So I think first off, we had some questions like how would the absence of Cook affect us really? I thought Tolbert, he came right out and he answered the bell right away. He had some tough catches. It ain't gonna stay up in the stat sheet or whatnot, but the DPI in the end zone, I thought that was big. I thought Turpin, he came in, he had some juice right away. Rico again, but I think it was a big game for Tony Pollard. And then who would have thought Deuce Vaughn? He came in and did what he did. I thought he brought a lot of juice to the table. So, man, he answered the bell. And it was very efficient. You know what I mean? When everybody talked about Dak, the interceptions, and I think it's kind of going to look like this, man. We don't need to be throwing for 300, 400 yards if we don't need to. You know what I mean? I think this kind of is what it's going to look like if we up. I'm fully comfortable with those field goals. And if we talk of field goals, I thought, Brandon Arbor, we got to give him a shout out. We was kind of worried going into the season. But I think he showed up, man. Hey, look, man, I think we got to kick him, man.
No, I thought it was really I was so worried about Aubrey too, man. But I was, like I said, I was so glad he got those reps yesterday. Like, it was nice to see him get out there and get that opportunity. And we didn't have to force anything there. I thought it was very creative offensively too. You lose a Brandon Cooks, but the way they were able to incorporate Tolbert, Turpin, and Deuce Vaughn, like you said, man, we used all of our weapons in a plethora of ways, and it was nice to see that. And I wonder, even if when Brandon Cooks returns, if we'll see more of a mix like that as well, because we got playmakers everywhere.
Yeah, and I still didn't want to see what I see from Gallup. I mean, Michael Gallup. We kind of had that question, like if Tolbert comes out here and he look a little bit better than Gallup, what kind of conversation could we have in the next coming weeks? And I think Tolbert looked good. Michael Gallup, I'm still like, I don't know. He just doesn't look like himself, and it's some questions there. But I thought the tight ends, he answered the bell as well. Jake Ferguson. You know what I mean? He look, everything that went his way, he was catching it. He did what we had to do when we asked of him. And I thought it was pretty cool to see Shoemaker getting in the end zone as well, man. So I think it was a nice showing for our rookie class in general, man. So solid victory all the way around the board.
For sure. And to tell you what, too, man, CD had a monster of a game, man. As you said, Dak was slicing and dicing, and Sauce had no answer for him. He almost got Dak,
Almost.
and that was close, but
Yeah.
it was still fun. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was nice to see CD out there, as I said before, like against the top corner, and to showcase his skills like that, especially in this contract year.
Yeah, and you see look, it looks like the people have got the sauce a little bit. I see he deactivated the account. Now
Yeah.
he's came out. He said he asking the coaches like, "Hey, I need to follow more people." Right? I think he's seen what City was doing, but hey, look, going into this thing, we know it's chess, it's not checkers. You know what I'm saying? Of course. Like, do I think City could have won some of those matchups? But why if he over there eating the way he's eating? I thought City showed up well, and you know what I mean, just in his offense and the way he's going about it, the way we moving him around. I just like that we're kind of putting the ball in our playmakers' hands, not putting too much on Dak. He looked fully under control and just giving these guys time to just get their yak, keep the chains moving, things of that nature. So I thought that looked good, man. And the defense overall, man, I thought it was beast, man. It's just Micah setting that tone, right? So obviously he comes out there, he get the sack right away. We feed off of that, but then we was wondering like when would the turnovers come? You know what I mean? So he come in there, he get the forced fumble, and it just seemed like a domino effect from there. You know what I mean? Curse, he gets one, and that's due to Micah. Then you see Hooker, he comes back with some redemption. He grabs one. Trayvon get one. Everybody get one. You know what I mean? So the defense is once again, you know what I mean, who we thought they were. And I thought it was good if we're talking both sides for the offense to kind of get this on film against a defense like this. You know what I'm saying? We got San Fran in a couple weeks. But now, I mean, I think we all knew they could do it. But in general, I think the world knows, man. You know what I mean? They was talking about, hey, they're going against this defense, what's not. But what do you know, man? We put up 30, man. So you got to be impressed by this for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, DQ was out there like Oprah saying, you get a turnover, you get a turnover. It was nice to see.
DQ that dude, man.
The first play of the game, they try to run outside with Brees Hall, man. D-Law tackle for loss right off the rip, man.
Statement.
And that was, I knew right there. Like I was like, that's it right there, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You mentioned the Micah play, the Malik touchdown that he gave up, man. It was crazy because I was pretty bothered at first. Like I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what do we half-ass him for right now, Malik? You know? And then I see him get to the sideline kind of laughing it off. And he's like, I'm like, oh, they don't care. These guys don't care. Like he was like, that's on me. And nobody was worried about it, man. And that was fun to see. And as you said, he made up for it later on as well.
That's why I say I'm so spoiled, bro. I didn't want to give up any touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? I hate to see 10 on the board. I hated the 7. I hated the field goals, man. But just to know that we were that close from, you know what I mean, just sitting here 0 the first game and 3 the second game. I don't really, you know what I mean? They didn't really do anything to press me. And I think we was worried about, I think that run defense, I don't know how worried we was, but I think a lot of people had concerns with the run defense, right? And like you talked about D-Law, he came out there and made a statement right away. And I think, you know, Brees Hall, he probably had one good run, but other than that, man, hey, everything was tough. And who would have known, you know what I mean, after the fact, go check the box score that Zach Wilson will be the leading rusher, right? So I think that's a statement in itself. So I don't think no longer teams can look at this thing like, oh, we're going to just run on the Cowboys. That's going to be a weakness. Now I think they know in general, man, like, nah, you're going to have to bring your best ball. And if you don't and we go up, you know what I mean, this is how it's going to look like, man. Come Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whatever. I don't think we'll see no more Kellen Moore type things when we get in the league. We still throwing. Because stats don't matter no more, and it's all about dubs, man. I think we'll have a lot of that.
Hey, bro, I got a note right here too, and it says Kellen Moore sucks and McCarthy's humming. McCarthy's humming. Hey, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see how that Chargers game ended, man, and just the way Mike McCarthy, managed our game. It's impressive, and it's something that we are not used to, that we haven't been used to. But I do have a couple stats I want to read off to you here, right? The Jets had 12 first downs. We got 26. Huge difference there, right?
Right.
On third down, the Jets were at 10%. We're sitting at 50. Total plays, Jets got 46. We had 86, right?
The ball control was crazy.
Time of possession, 42 minutes and 15 seconds for Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys. The maturity, man. If this was a Kellen Moore game, it would be a 30-30. You know what I mean? Because he would have been trying to light it up. Dak would have thrown 2 picks. Not his fault. You know what I mean? Like this maturity on offense that McCarthy's presenting with keeping DQ, man. I think DQ was the best move we made all offseason, without a doubt.
Got to keep DQ around.
And that right there, man, like this, I'm not trying to put a bow on it, but like this is nice.
It's nice.
Like they're nice for real.
And I see some things they was putting on film. Like how many times did that kind of do like the read option?
Hmm.
And it just looked like he had all the yards out there, right? And he just kept it, allowed Tony Pollard just to keep getting those tough yards, keep getting
Right.
those tough yards. I feel like at any given time he could have pulled that and took that thing for 10 or 15 yards, right? So I think he just kind of putting it on the table because I think in a couple of weeks you'll see Dak start incorporating his legs a little bit more. But it seems like everything is kind of setting up for the next thing. And I got a nice quote for you, man. Just coming from Dak right after this solid game, right? So, quote end quote. If you watch this film, you'll see that my footwork is tied exactly with the receivers. Whether it's going to the number one read or whether it's a hitch getting to the number two, or hell, I scrambled on third down because my feet told me to do so. Right. So
But
now it's letting you know like everything is tied together. And the fact that first read, second read, I'm going through my check down, everything covered, I'm running. You know what I'm saying? So hey man, it looks like he's in full control. Mike is in full control. I love what they got going on that side of the ball. I think everything is kind of clicking where it needs to be. And man, we got some boys coming in. You think about it, look, Tyler Smith, we thought it was a concern. Look, we making it, right? Dono Wilson, we get to add him into this thing right now, and everybody's performing, they doing what they need to do. Look, it's no concern right there. We making it happen. Zach Martin was a little bit worried about him. He got banged up. Fortunately, he was able to come back. And look, we're doing it without Cooks as well. You know what I mean? And against this defense at that, so number of high contributors are still out. You know what I mean? It was cool to see Jordan Lewis, you know what I mean, kind of make his return. Look like they're easing him back into this thing. But like we still got reinforcements coming. We got guys coming.
I saw another thing too. I got this written down that you guys really let Dak hang 30 on you without his starting left guard and his wide receiver too, and y'all are one of the best defenses in the league.
Facts.
And I'm sitting there like, hey, bro, that's a solid point because, like you said, going into the week, bro, it was, oh, but it's a solid defense, bro. Zach Wilson stinks. Zach Wilson stinks.
But we knew that though. I mean, like that's what I say after the fact is, oh, you just beat Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson, but you got to add that context into it. And they're gonna do whatever. It's rinse and repeat. They're gonna do it every week. You know what I mean? We get the Cardinals this week. Obviously, we can't sleep on them too much. But we got some big games coming up. I think San Fran, I'm circling that one, of course. I really want to see what we do against this Miami offense, and obviously we circling the Eagles, man. We definitely got a point to prove when we play those guys later in the year. But if we stick in here, man, you know, take nothing away from it because they will, the Doubters will. But at the end of the day, it's just us taking care of business. We should win games like this. You know what I'm saying? I think it's big that we didn't step down the competition. I think going in, we all knew what type of challenges we would present to them. I think it was all on us. And look, if you look at what's going on in the building, you see how the guys tackle, well, how they tackling this thing. I think they fully expect to come out here winning every week. And like Micah said, man, we coming.
As you said, we should win games like this, and we should win them this way. Like this is the way you are supposed to play teams like this.
Yeah.
And Micah said they coming tonight. We get to watch the Edge as well. And hear Micah talk about the game. That'll be sick. The last key thing I got right here is I love the confidence of Mike McCarthy. I know I said it before.
Yeah.
But you can really tell that these guys are playing for him, and it's nice to see this difference, man. Getting Kellen Moore out the door, I think, is why we are performing the way we are, and I think it made a huge difference. So Jerry putting that trust in Mike says a lot. You keep that Dan Quinn around as long as you can, man. Keep this defense molded together, man, and we could be on to some nice things.
Yeah. And they're getting that respect, man. You know what I mean? Respect comes with this. If you look around and you kind of just read the tea leaves. Now, it's like one of those things, as much as you hate us, love us or hate us, man, you got to respect what's going on in Dallas right now, man. So the boys are solid. I can't wait to, you know what I'm saying, get some of these reinforcements back. There's a lot of guys who I think going into this next week that I think he'll continue to see rested. And then I think, you know, I mean, hedging all bets, I think San Fran, I think we come into play, man. I do.
Real quick, I was talking to my pops and last night after the game, and he was pretty much like, you know, you don't remember, you were young or not born, but he was like watching Micah is like what it was like watching LT, man. And I was just like thinking to myself, we really are witnessing greatness right now with Micah. It's phenomenal to see. I think outside of the quarterback position, Mike has got to be the best non-QB in the league.
And it's crazy how fast he closes that gap, man.
It's
like how similar to that sack of Zach Wilson, you know what I mean? I believe it was on the first drive. It looked exactly similar to what happened with Daniel Jones, like the wrap and how fast he got to him. He never seen it coming.
Yeah.
And then even the interception with I think it was Curse on the end zone. Oh, not the end zone, I'm sorry. Like when Kurtz got the interception toward the sideline, whatever, it was Micah applying that pressure once again. He's right up there, 3 sacks, and like I said, the boy Osa is right with him. I'm definitely going to tune in to the the Bleacher Report, what he got going on, man. So Micah, keep doing what you're doing, man, and like hey, he's the guy that's leading his charge, man, and everybody is feeding around him, man. So we got something special brewing right now, definitely.
No, for sure. I think that's it for me on this side. You got anything else?
No, I think we covered everything for the most part. We'll be back in a few days, man. And for the most part, hey, just hit that like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned in. We had a little slight break. We'll be back. We got some betting segments coming and things like that, previews. We're talking around the league as well. But for now, man, we just out here celebrating Cowboy Nation, man. These victories feel a little good, man. The week goes by so fast when it comes to this season, man. So you got to enjoy them all. Just soak it all in, man, because I think we'll be around, man, for a long time. And hey, it feels like this all year. I hate that they say y'all say that every year, but like I'm saying it this year, we stamping that. So man, yeah, tune in, man, and appreciate y'all for tuning in for sure. Peace.
Appreciate it.
All right.